for someday? Ready to finally start living your best life right now?
You're in the right place. I'm David.
And I'm Wendy.
And this is the David and Wendy podcast. We're your life coaches here to move you from the excuses to action.
From mastering your mindset to finding real joy, we're keeping it real, raw, and maybe just a little ridiculous.
Let's get into it, Wendy.
Let's go, David. Welcome back to the David and Wendy podcast. Today's episode is about reality. It's not what you think it is. We are not aware of all that is around us. So, what is reality, anyways? According to AI, at its core, reality is the sum or aggregate of all that is real or existent within a system, as opposed to that which is only imaginary, fictional, or ideological. And because what is reality is one of the biggest questions in human history, the definition changes slightly depending on the lens that you're looking through. So in my findings, when David and I were researching, in my findings, what I found were that there are three different views used to answer that question of what is reality. There's the philosophical view, the scientific view, or the psychological view. And I'm guessing there's also like an overlap, when people are describing it, of all three or two, or, there's some overlap there. I found this very interesting. But what I'm guessing is it's all about perception, or we have some kind of influence over that based on our experiences. So what one person perceives may be totally different than what someone else perceives it to be based on.
Right. Like, are you for real? Right. That's a good question.
Yeah.
In the scientific realm, there's the age-old what's supposed to be a physiological, philosophical question is, if a tree falls in the forest and no one is there, does it make a sound?
And, so my brain goes to, well, if no one's there to hear it, then I guess no, it's not going to make a sound. But I feel like this is a trick question, David.
Yep. Technically, and this is the weird part, it always weirds me out. Technically, the tree never makes a sound. As a matter of fact, nothing ever makes a sound. There is literally no sound as we know it, as we define it, outside of our heads. The sound is only ever heard in our heads. So it takes the brain to hear it. It all starts with the eardrum, and it's created as it works its way to the proper place in your brain. So what sound really is just pressure waves, that are interpreted by the brain as sound, so that we can experience our surroundings in an additional way to sight, right? You'll hear me say this a lot, because the only reason we have hearing is for survival. It developed for survival.
Wow.
But, it does come in handy for other things, right? Who doesn't love some music?
Right. It's that's interesting. The human body is so amazing.
Right. And you've probably seen this conveyed visually by some kind of graphic, either still or moving, where a person is being exposed to loud sounds and their hair is being blown back. And even I saw one where the person was sitting in a chair and the chair was tilting back and the lamp was flying away. And that's what sound is. It's that pressure wave that is interpreted by our brain. That all starts with the eardrum experiencing the pressure wave. And here's the thing too, right? We only hear a small portion of the audible range, right? A specific range. Dog whistles are much higher than most people can hear, and strange, elephants actually communicate long distances with extremely low frequencies, like a bass drum or a subwoofer, but below what we can actually hear.
Oh, that's interesting.
And to go along with that, our eyes can only see a small percentage of the light spectrum. So we're not even seeing all that is out there to be seen.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I've heard about this before, that our eyes only see a fraction of what's really out there because it'd be way too much information for our brains to comprehend or process all that there is. Yeah.
Yeah, well, if it was suddenly turned on, sure. But if we needed it for our survival, we would have evolved with it, and it would
Mm,
just simply be normal. But
true.
again, we only have enough input to ensure our survival, because bees and other insects, along with some snakes, can see both above and below the light range that
Mm.
we can see. Right, there's infrared, which is below, which snakes use for
Oh, yeah.
finding warm bodies in the
Hmm.
dark. And then there's ultraviolet, which insects typically use to find flowers, have flowers like bees. If you've ever
Mm.
seen anything with bees, talking about bees, the flowers, their experience of the flowers is very iridescent,
Oh.
apparently. And again, that's just for their survival. That helps. That's it's evolved so they can keep living. So
Hmm.
this is the true physical reality that we typically experience without fully understanding, and we just go along thinking we're hearing and seeing all that there is, right? And here's the thing: have you ever said or heard someone say something like, "What world are you living in?" or "That's not my reality"?
Oh, yes. I've heard this, and I'm embarrassed to say that I've actually said that to people before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Me too. Me too. Our personal reality is an interpreted, filtered, and orchestrated reality based on our personal life experience, right?
Hmm.
Our psychological reality, you might say. This is how two people can have the same experience and have two different interpretations of it. Like, say, standing at the edge of a tall building or a cliff, and
Mm.
one may feel, woo, energized, like this is great, and the other might be just screaming, terrified. Same, but right, not the same.
Yeah, yeah, I've experienced this myself, having the same exact experience as somebody else, but yet two completely different interpretations of that experience. And this does make total sense to me. I'm guessing people are going to interpret situations differently based on their own personal experiences, the belief systems they have in programming and how they process information.
Right, right, and you know, here's a question I often ask myself: why are some groups of people thought of differently by some people, but not others, just because of their visual appearance? Every human on the planet is physically and biologically, with some variations, basically functions the same. That's why clothing manufacturers can make clothes, albeit in different sizes, the same. They make the clothes the same without knowing who's going to wear them. Now, obviously, yeah, we do have to make a distinction between gender, but only sometimes, right?
Right. Yeah.
Cars are built the same. I know cars again, but uh, food, buildings, medicine, medical procedures, public transportation is all the same. And yes, there are variants for differently abled people, but without regard for what they look like, or typically even their gender. So it's our past life experience, our programming that interprets and creates these illusory differences. You could call this our philosophical reality. This is where we make judgments about things, right and wrong, and again, based on our programming. Because there's situations where I'm sure you've met somebody that you had an argument about what is right and what is wrong. It's subjective. Subjective means it's based on our filtering system. So right,
Hmm.
it's our personal reality. What reality are you living in?
So, am I correct in my understanding, David, that reality is how we as individuals interpret the world around us through our senses? Is that?
Yes, using our senses, but run through our personal filtering.
Hmm. Then reality is totally subjective, right? I mean, each person's reality is based on or influenced by personal feelings, tastes, opinions, or experiences. I'm guessing that's what you mean by our personal filtering. Yeah, I guess then this proves that no two people's realities are the same.
Right. Yeah. So have you ever been to a movie with another person or a group of people, and then afterwards you're discussing the movie and talking about the best part, and then everybody comes up with a different what the best part is, right? A different interpretation, the different experiential thoughts and opinions, right? This is just the different realities expressing themselves.
Yes, absolutely. Well, this is the closing of our episode today. And next week, we're going to delve into the world of confidence.
All right. That's the show for this week. We hope you are feeling motivated like you're ready to take on the world.
If you got value today, do us a huge favor. Like and subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us reach more people just like you.
You can find all our info in the show notes and connect with us at our website, thedavidandwendypodcast.com.
We'll see you next week. And remember, always be kind, loving, and compassionate to everyone you meet.